Four, three, two, one. Hello and welcome to the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast, where we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy, and using a proven tax deferral strategy such as the Deferred Sales Trust is the best way for you to exit highly appreciated primary homes, businesses, cryptocurrencies, save a failed 1031 exchange so you can defer millions of dollars of capital gains tax and create and preserve more wealth, or help your clients do the same. Hey, I'm your host, Brett Swarts, and each episode I'm joined by some of the best real estate, financial, wealth, crypto, and leaders in the world, where they share their ideas, deal stories, and inspirations. Together, we can make complex tax deferral strategies simple and passive income plans achievable. We're also streaming on expert CRE secrets out there. For those who are wondering, we appreciate all of you folks out there as well. I'm excited about our next guest. She's out of Folsom, California, and she has a passion for selling real estate for her clients in a better way, using technology, using class, using style. And I'm excited to talk about how she helps her clients do this. And she's been voted one of the best in all of the Sacramento area. She's with Madison Fairchild Chase Pope Real Estate Team. Her name is Madison Fairchild. Please welcome to the show. Madison, how you doing?
Hi there. Excited to be here. Thanks for having me, Brett.
Absolutely. And for our listeners getting to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Yeah, absolutely. So I have been selling real estate for a whopping 4.5 years over here in the Sacramento area. To be honest, I sell real estate everywhere from I'm out in Tahoe, down in LA doing different development projects. I've got a client right now in San Diego. So I'm all over, but home base for me truly is the Tri-Counties. I fell in love with real estate. I could bore you guys to death with that entire story, but in the quickest way possible. Fell in love with real estate when I bought my very first house at age 23. And from that moment forward, my life was changed. And there's an incredible amount of wealth that you can build, freedom that you can gain that all comes through real estate. Real estate, in my opinion, is one of the safest and most lucrative long-term investments that anybody can make. And like I said, I've seen my life personally dramatically change, as well as my family and going to be the future generations because of real estate. And to be able to do that for other people and help those around me create the same type of freedoms for them, that's what it's about for me.
Amazing. Love that, Madison. And before we dive into the story and the focus of today, which is revolutionizing the way you trade real estate. And by the way, if you want to check out and get with Madison Fairchild, check out MadisonChaseRealEstate.com. That's MadisonChaseRealEstate.com. I want to take one other step back. I want you to go back to maybe your high school days at Folsom High School. You said, hey, go Bulldogs, right? It's here in Sacramento.
Go Bulldogs!
Pretty cool. Pretty cool. I want to take a step back. You know, people, I believe we've all been given certain gifts, talents in this life, and these gifts have been given to us. You know, some people call them strengths, some people call them superpowers, to be a blessing and help to others. So I'm curious, what are those one or two gifts that you believe you were given, and how does that help how you help and bless people today?
Yeah, absolutely. The first one, my team and I, we call it the intangible. I have a really unique way of getting very excited about a lot of things that I believe in, and to be able to share that to me is the superpower. When I get excited, people around me get excited, and all of a sudden everybody's lives change. So that would be my superpower.
Excellent enthusiasm. Hence the Go Bulldogs. That's cool. Were you a cheerleader in high school, or it's just in general?
I was not. I can't touch my toes if you paid me, man, but I can cheer on the sidelines.
That's cool. No, the power of encouragement. I absolutely love that. And enthusiasm. Maybe is that a fair summary?
That is very fair.
Awesome. So now let's apply that to revolutionizing the way you trade real estate. So Madison, what's the number one secret of how you help others revolutionize the way that they would either sell or trade real estate?
Yeah, great question. Thinking outside the box. There's this mode. We call it Troubleshoot Mode. And I always say, if you can't go into Troubleshoot Mode, you are toast in general in life. I don't care what you're trying to do. You need Troubleshoot Mode. And every transaction, every client, every circumstance, every situation that I'm presented with, you have to go into Troubleshoot Mode, right? Nothing is ever perfect, and there's always going to be something different. So being able to attack whatever it is from all angles and get creative with what you're doing, right? Anybody, I don't care who you are, unless you know what you're doing. You don't go to the lender for the first time to get pre-qualified to find out how much you can actually buy and trade with, right? without there being some flaws, so to speak, or some hiccups. And so being able to look at somebody's financial landscape, say, okay, this is what we've got today. How can we make this better? How can we put you in the best position, rationalize and evaluate their timelines and different factors in their life, and as well as what their needs are in that moment, and be able to build a strategy that's precise, that's effective, and that I can execute on, honestly, as quickly as possible.
Amazing. So part of the themes at Capital Gains Tax Solutions is a quote for 2022 is a quote from a gentleman named Ray Dalio, and he wrote a book called Principles. And he talked about trading the joy of being right for the joy of what's true, right? And so when you say go into troubleshoot mode, what I'm thinking about is basically taking off any kind of barriers or blind spots or egos and just being like, hey, let's look at this thing from multiple angles and let's figure out like what's the best way to solve this Rubiks Cube that we've been given, right? What are those things that you're looking to do? How are we looking to solve that? Is that a fair summary so far?
Absolutely. That's exactly what it is.
Cool. So let's apply that now, right? So someone's like, hey, Madison, I want to sell my $3.5 million house, which you have sold in the Folsom area. Perhaps I think it's the Folsom area. And like, it's a big house and it's luxury and it's a big deal for us. So like, how are you going to attack that in a new way?
So it's all going to depend on where the house is located and what the type of house is. My first step is obviously get to know the property. The second thing is start to understand the demographic of who's going to buy that. I believe a lot in buyer psychology. As a seller, we like to put these things on. I call them seller goggles. We all do it. I do it with my own properties. And these seller goggles, they're kind of like drunk goggles. They're not the greatest things to navigate from. So we have to take the seller goggles off, put our buyer hats on, and begin to understand who our buyer is. Why are they looking for this property? What are some obstacles that buyer may face from both a financial perspective as well as the functional aspect in the property, right? We don't want a property that's functionally obsolete due to age or things like that. We want to be able to say, okay, this is who my buyer is. This is what their needs list is. This is what their obstacles could be. And then again, build a strategy around that so that we can be precise in how we attack it and go out there and break records. That's what I do.
Okay. I love it. So I like that's a cool thing. So the seller goggles, right? It's like selling under the influence. Like, hey, be careful, people. We all get caught up in emotions. And you're right. Like, even as a commercial real estate broker myself, right? I'm telling people, hey, get someone else to represent you on your own, especially your own primary home, right? It's like, because the emotion can take over. In fact, we did an $8.3 million deal in Palo Alto for one of the number one realtors at Keller Williams for his own house. And he's been a top luxury agent for like 30 years there. And I went to his house. I show up to present the Deferred Sales Trust. And he's like, I'm like, man, someone else is listing your house out front. And he's like, yeah, of course. I'm like, well, tell me why. He's like, well, I'm not going to do a great job of representing myself, right? I'm not going to want to show my cards to somebody else. And I'm going to get caught in the emotion. I raised 6 kids here, right? And I'm moving and I'm leaving to another location. And like, so it's not great for me to represent. I'd much rather pay that for someone else. And part of that is that seller's goggles, right? The emotion is going to get caught up and you're going to put yourself at a disadvantage. So talk about the importance of representation for someone who doesn't have the seller goggles or the emotion involved as much. Of course, you're still passionate about what you're doing, but you're not tied to the property in that sense.
Yeah, absolutely. And that goes, like, I'll go seller goggles first because that's where we're at, but it's so important for representation from both a seller as well as a buyer perspective. I giggle every time we hear it a lot in today's market, sellers saying, oh, I'm just going to sell my house. It's going to sell itself because the market's so good right now, demand's so high. Great. Go ahead. Try selling your house. Good luck, 1, auditing that contract. 2, good luck vetting the buyers that are coming in. I cannot tell you how many pre-approval letters I received from lenders on properties. We literally just listed a property last week. I had 20 offers on it in the Sacramento area, and which is unfortunately not uncommon, or fortunately not uncommon, but 20 offers. And I will tell you, less than 50% of those loans, in my opinion, were good, that were worth even talking to these buyers. And that's a scary thing. A lot of agents, buyers agents, and they'll either trust what the lender's telling them, they don't ask enough questions. They trust what the buyer's telling them, they don't ask enough questions. And they're presenting something that's only part of the picture. Fast forward, a seller accepts an offer because it looks pretty in their brain. And the only thing that they're looking at is the price, none of the terms that are also a piece of this. And the next thing you know, they're falling out of contract, or escrow is getting delayed, extended. And then it doesn't even close in the end. And now they've wasted precious time, energy, and opportunity on the market. So from a seller's perspective, you have to have representation. And it's also easy too. Like, you put those seller goggles on, you see a sticker price, and then you start to get greedy. And there's sometimes a bird in the hand is worth more than two in a bush. So you've got to be careful in that regard.
Absolutely. That's really great. And I love the way you put that, auditing the contract and the expertise. There's a reason there's brokers to represent you. Now, you want the best of the best. And part of why I love having you on the show is because you're one of the best of the best. And you're one of the fastest, let's say, year over year AUM or deals that are closing and millions on their selling. So in 4.5 years, Madison, for those who don't know, how much have you done, right? Like, when you first started to where you are today, like what's helping you to become like one of the best in all of Sacramento?
Yeah, we have closed well over 100 million in real estate, and in our little Sacramento area. That's a pretty good number. You go out to the Bay Area and people are doing that in a year. So I don't look quite as impressive when you look at it from that perspective, but yeah, well over 100. We brought in close to $3 million in gross commission at this point, which has been amazing. And as far as I apologize, Brett. Where was I going with the question?
Well, just how you got in there. Like, what's been the one secret to help you achieve this success in such a short period of time?
Yeah. So, secret to success. I get asked this question all the time, and the shortest answer is there is no secret to success. Everybody wants the shortcut to making millions, the shortcut to success. They're trying for the get rich quick scheme, whatever it is. And you can get suckered into a lot of them. But the reality is, it's hard work. Like, people don't see the 5 a.m. wake ups. They don't see the going to bed between midnight and 1 a.m. and then sleeping for 4 hours and doing it all over again. They don't see the lack of attention to my health, dare I admit that, and everything else, because you go 200 miles an hour, you go 150% into what you're doing. And although you see this luxurious mountain, so to speak, of success, there's another mountain that requires a lot of grit to climb. And so I would say step one is you've got to have the grit. You have to be willing to commit to whatever it is that you're doing. You have to be willing to say, hey, it's going to get tough and it's only going to get tougher, but I'm not going to give up. And then the second piece of it for me, in order to manage all this craziness, is routine. My meditation routine is critical for me. My mornings start with 20 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of meditation, 20 minutes of journaling. And people think I'm crazy, but like, that's my secret sauce right there. Keeps my mind, body, and soul connected, and allows me to plant 2 feet on the ground and best serve my clients.
Amazing. And so let's go back to the topic, right, which is helping sellers to achieve the highest price, best terms, and have someone on your side to represent you very well. So we talked about thinking outside the box, right, being in troubleshoot mode. We talk about attacking the situation from all angles, getting to know the property and getting to know the buyer psychology, as well as making sure that that you're accepting and looking and auditing the buyers that are coming in with the lenders, as well as the actual contract and the terms, not just the price, but the terms. What would be the next thing that you would say that you really want to you're doing that's a little bit different, or that you're really stepping up on the level of revolutionizing the way people sell real estate?
Yeah, absolutely. So when we look at our clients, we don't look at them as, hey, we're just buying a home. Of course, we're buying a home. This is going to be the foundation to many memories and different expansion moments in their life. But we're looking at them as, how can we expand your personal wealth? How can we build generational wealth for you and your family? Whether they even know that's what they want to be doing or not, we know that that's in their best interest. And we begin to understand what's important to them, find out what freedoms they are seeking in life. And we begin to strategize with them as if they're a real estate investor today, before they even know they want to be a real estate investor, right? Sometimes it's really easy if somebody has a house to sell to get caught up in, okay, sell the house, let's go buy another one. Great, 2 sales. But that's not what it's about. It's about, hey, can we keep that house, or the house that we're buying that's your first home? Let's make some plans for what are we doing with this property in 3 to 5 years? Is there a way that we can preserve it, hold it, turn it into an investment, whether it be a long-term, short-term, Airbnb, whatever it might be? Or is the whole plan to maybe do a slow flip on it over 2 years while you live in it, or 3, or whatever the timeline is, then liquidate those funds and put those funds into another asset that's going to grow faster. And again, create more freedom and ultimately personal wealth for them.
Excellent. I think what I'm hearing you say here is taking an active investor mindset versus just a passive homeowner mindset, right?
Absolutely.
And so it's like, how do we maximize the value of the property, whether that be current improvements before you sell, whether that be not even selling and just making it to an Airbnb? I mean, full disclosure, Madison, my wife and I and kids were considering taking the second house approach, moving to Florida, right, and settling down in a house for 51% of the time, but keeping our existing house. And so we're exploring like, hey, do we Airbnb it, which we've done in the past when we've gone on like little mini vacations? Hey, do we just rent it out to a full-time renter? Or hey, do we do something called Ethereum mining, right? Where we get these little computers that work 24/7 that are mining Ethereum. It's like we're trying to really think outside the box. So I'm curious, have you guys considered that as a potential model for people that are considering not selling their houses and just doing some rental?
Have I considered Ethereum mining, or all of the above?
All of the above.
All of the above. So yeah, absolutely. And that's exactly what it is. It's determining what is the lifestyle that they want, where are their goals, what's their family doing, and how can we just put them in a position of power? That's really my job. Like I said, troubleshoot mode, get creative. How can I make them more powerful in their own life and empower them financially? Because I believe, going back to just what makes me successful. Yeah, you got my routine. Yes, grit. But the kind of tertiary piece of this is you can't put limits on yourself. People put a ceiling on their own self. They begin to create these beliefs around whatever boundaries that somebody else has experienced and or somebody else has told them they should endure. And the reality is, the world is our oyster, truly. Like, we've got full autonomy to make anything and everything we happen. The statement, where there's a will, there's a way, has never been more true in my life than anything I could come up with. And so we take that approach with our clients. So yeah, absolutely. Airbnb, short-term, long-term, whatever it might be, how can we wiggle this into something that makes sense for them?
Absolutely love it. You know, I think of the you see those spelling bee competitions, Madison, when they get up there and they rattle off those words, and you're like, what? Like they can do that? Like, I wasn't the best speller. I was always better at talking and speaking. And so, but then there's another one I saw the other day, and it was these kids that are doing these Rubiks Cubes. And like, they do it in like 6 seconds. They hand these people these cubes, and the kids go like this, and they put it down, and it's all the same color. You're like, whoa. You know, and so part of what I find, and let me know what you think, like, you're working with your team, right? And it's not just you, it's a team, and it's also probably the lender that you built a strategic alliance with, and it's you know, the appraiser, and it's the inspector, and it's getting all of it, everyone together, but it's like in a Rubik's Cube, right? And this cube is all different colors. And talk about the value of being able to pass that cube to each of those parties, having them do their own little twist, so that at the end of the day, the cube is as lined as possible with congruency on all colors.
Yeah, absolutely. So my team, and you're right, my team is agents, it's lender partners, it's tax people, it's lawyers, it's all kinds of different members that build up what I would call the perfect team, right? Also, just real quick, as far as building a team, anybody building a team, hire anyone and everybody smarter than you. You do not want to be the smartest person in the room if you can help it, right? We want to constantly be having people around us that can support and build our business as well. So I built a team. I've got these great people. And coming back to this Rubik's Cube analogy, they all have a different role. And I want to take this in 2 directions. The first one is, I feel, as somebody who's leading a team, especially, I made it my mission to understand every single person's role on my team, right? So whether it is a real estate agent, whether it is a title officer, whether it's a lender, whether it's a tax person, even certain tax deferral techniques, things like that, I had to educate myself on that, because when I'm sitting down going into troubleshoot mode, I need to know what all the tools are in the tool belt. I may not be deploying all those tools. I just need to know they exist, so I can pair people with the right person that can support and guide them whatever path we're trying to take. And so critical in that is my opinion. The second thing that I always tell my agents that have come on, especially my new ones, is, look, guys, I've built something that I'm really proud of and that I have a ball with over the last 4.5 years, right? I'm going to hand you the perfect team. I'm going to hand you the relationships, the connections, the network that I have built over the last several years. And I've done this pretty quick, but you should become better than me faster than I did because you are getting all of it up front. And so kind of from both angles, I hope my team is those young kids that are standing up on stage with that Rubiks Cube and you blink and all of a sudden it's perfect because they're getting all of that experience up front.
Amazing. I love the way you put that, right? And you're expecting even a higher, you're encouraging and expecting even a higher performance in you. A, you're hiring people that are smarter than you, right? And B, you're saying, hey, look, I've done a lot of the, let's say the Rubik's Cube analogy, I've done a lot of the twisting and getting the people there. So you should be able to take this and even and go further faster. To me, that's the second one. And then the first one I really resonate with too, right? Which is knowing enough of the roles of each of the people that are going to help serve your client in the best way. And this is a good transition for the tax part of this side of the episode, right, where we help people escape feeling trapped by capital gains tax on the sale of highly appreciated homes, crypto. We said a luxury home in Palo Alto for $8.3 million, and we exited well. And part of that is knowing hiring the who, or know who to pass the who to, so that the client can actually get out. In this particular scenario, Madison, they literally couldn't sell. Like the realtor wouldn't have been paid, the lender wouldn't have got paid, the buyer wouldn't have had a house if it wasn't for the tool, and we love it, and this is why we're so passionate about it. It's called the Deferred Sales Trust. It's like a 1031 exchange, but it works for all assets, including crypto, businesses, real estate, primary homes, whereas 1031 only works for investment real estate. But without it, he had $800,000 of liability. Literally, like the math wouldn't work. He goes, Brett, if I sell, I just lose. I lose everything. But if I can sell and defer the tax, I can kick the can and I can live off the interest of it and cash flow it, okay? And I can slowly mitigate my tax over time. And so I'm curious, Madison, what do you feel like the biggest frustration is when it comes to highly appreciated homeowners or investors, like trying to defer tax using the 1031 exchange, or anything kind of come to mind there?
Oh, yes, Brett. I have dozens of stories, to be honest, but probably the first one that's the most prevalent for me is I have an investor client who is trying to acquire properties. And these are primary residences of people, and he's trying to buy them. And so I've been hired to headhunt, essentially go direct to the seller, tell them, hey, we'd like to purchase your house, and get them to sell it to my client, right? Well, he's making them insane offers, like above market, ridiculous net offers. Like these people should be taking this and running. It's gold. But all of them pause. And I'm like, you guys, like, let's look at this. Let's look at the numbers. And they're like, no, we don't want to pay taxes. What are we going to do with these taxes? And I'm like, oh my goodness. And so again, having the right person and the right tool to pass them off to is what can make the world a difference.
So check out this stat, Madison. I'm curious what you think about this, right? And so according to the American Bankers Association and a bunch of other really smart people, they did this survey and they said, hey, what is the baby boomers? What's the amount of wealth they have, and how much are they going to pass to, the millennials and Gen Z, Gen X in the next 20 years? What does it look like? It's an astounding $32 trillion, okay, $32 trillion. And check this out, 50% of all of the net worth of that 32 million is tied to high-end primary homes, businesses, private equity, and commercial real estate, all of which are subject to huge capital gains tax should they exit, right? And so you have the largest wealth transfer, and there's about 77 million baby boomers in the U.S. alone, and every day about 10,000 of them are turning 65 years old. And so they're getting older, their kids are gone, their houses are appreciating, they're not diversified, they're not liquid, and they're looking for ways to get out, but they feel trapped by that 30 to 50% capital gains tax, right? And so as real estate professionals that we are, right, and as those who are trying to help people create and preserve more wealth, what is that $32 trillion number? Like, I mean, that can even around that. I wonder if you've even considered that, right? Yeah.
Yeah, that's insane. And obviously these people need to find some avenue. I can tell you my mom is one of those people right now. She's coming up on going to have to be making a move, and her and I've been having a capital gains conversation recently.
Exactly. And by that's what if people want to learn more about how to solve that, you can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. But also, we also have a free mastermind. It's the DST Crypto Mastermind. We're focusing on cryptocurrency, but we're also focusing on real estate, luxury homes, business sales, and we're masterminding every Friday. And you can join us for free. We have CPAs, clients on there, people learning about it for the first time. Go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. We're also live streaming on YouTube too. If you don't necessarily want to be on the Zoom, you can just go to YouTube, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on Friday and 1 p.m. Eastern on Friday. Same time. Check it out, capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. All that being said, Madison, are you ready for the lightning round?
I hope so. Lay it on me. Let's go.
All right. Knowing what you know now, if you could go back to your 20 years old self, what's the one golden nugget you make sure to tell yourself to do?
Buy a house as fast as possible. And then buy two.
And then what?
And then buy two.
And then buy two. Okay, cool. Very good. What's the number one book you've recommended or gifted the most in the past year?
Seven Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. It's a more esoteric type book, but it talks about the different laws of energy. And if we can harness and tap into them and understand them, it's really easy to make things happen in your world.
Fantastic. Next question is this. What are you most curious about right now?
Oh, I've been looking a lot into apartment complex syndication. So that's what I've been putting some energy and attention on.
Well, I just got back from the Best Ever Conference with Joe Fairless. I had the privilege of speaking on stage, just a little toot my horn there. But we talked all about commercial real estate apartment syndication. It happens every year in Colorado. Next year is going to be in Utah. Highly recommend you check that out. It was amazing. And likewise, we do syndicating and we raise money and we do all that kind of cool stuff with apartment syndication. So we should connect offline on that as well. Second to last question. What's your number one quote or theme, leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by?
Ooh, okay. So there's so many. I would say, okay. The first one, I got to give you two. So we got to go to. First one is winners always win. That's what we chant as a team, truly. And it's just reestablishing that belief that if you believe you're a winner, you're going to go out there and you're going to kill it. And that's what this is about. And again, it's just eliminating those ceilings, taking them off of you. The second quote, I'm going to butcher it entirely. It's by the Buddha, but it goes something to the tune of believe nothing, no matter who has said it, even if I have said it, so long as unless it agrees with your own rhyme and reason. So take in everything, but adopt only what feels right for you to adopt in the time that you're supposed to adopt it. I'm a big believer that every day is different. We experience different things. We've all come from different walks of life. Our perspective of reality is completely different from the next person, even if we went through that same experience together. And what we're intended to get out of the present is whatever it is for us, and to try to remain in present and take every little nugget that you possibly can out of it. Amazing.
I'm actually going to do a little pivot here, because I think you already kind of answered the last question, which was the 20 minutes of yoga, 20 minutes of journaling, and 20 minutes of something else. But here's the question. So you have a certainty of conviction, right? You have a certainty of conviction about you, right? Is what I picked up on here the last 30 minutes, and probably our listeners have as well. So I'm curious, how did you either get that certainty of conviction? That's the first part of the question. Second part is, how have you nurtured that, right? Because I have a feeling it's a little bit of both. Maybe it's the parents, maybe it's circumstances, maybe it's I don't even know what your background, right? But how did you get that certainty of conviction, and how have you nurtured that over the years?
Well, it's my mom's fault. So she told me I was pretty great all the time, and between her and my aunt spending a lot of time with me and encouraging me to explore the world, to stand on my own 2 feet, to be independent, to establish my own beliefs, independent of anybody else's beliefs, even their own. That was the biggest thing of that. The second piece is I wake up every day, and this one came from my aunt, is she told me, you reevaluate. Specifically, she was talking about relationships, but I applied it to all of life. You reevaluate everything in every minute of every day. And if you are afraid to reevaluate a relationship, a job, a belief, whatever it might be, if you can't bring yourself to reevaluate it, there's probably something not right about it. And also you have the right to reserve your own opinion, to change your mind about something, right? What works for you today may not work for you tomorrow. And if you wake up and you can genuinely choose every moment, every person in your life, every client, every emotion, everything. If you can say, I want this and I'm going to choose this again for myself today, you got nothing but confidence.
Absolutely love it. I'm already pumped up too. So you had a very strong mom and a strong aunt, a wise mom and a wise aunt, and those who believed in you, poured life into you, spoke words of encouragement and strength into you. Awesome. I think that's amazing. So for our listeners, we're wrapping it up now, who want to get in touch with you. Well, first of all, let me just thank you. I want to thank you for spreading some of that amazing energy, strength, confidence. I want to encourage you to keep using the gifts of enthusiasm, excitement, and belief, and leading really well to help your clients, to help your team create and preserve more wealth with real estate. And for our listeners who want to get in touch with you, can you remind them one last time what's the best place for them to find you?
Oh, there's lots of places you can find me. You can find me on Instagram, madison.chase.realestate, or my personal Instagram is it's rad mad. Go find me. You can also send me an email, madison@mcre.homes. That's madison@mcre.homes. And hey, you want to shoot me a text? 916-247-1976.
Amazing, Madison. Thanks for being on the show. And I also want to thank our listeners for listening to another episode of the Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast. As always, we believe most high net worth individuals and those who help them, they struggle with clarifying their capital gains tax deferral options. Not having a clear plan is the enemy. And using a proven tax deferral strategy, such as the Deferred Sales Trust, is the best way to exit highly appreciated primary homes, or hiring someone like Madison, if you're in the Sacramento area, to help you exit at a high price, right? With all of her tools, all of her passion, all of her wisdom, to help you get a high price and good terms. By the way, if you're exiting cryptocurrency, a business, real estate, and you're not wanting to face this 1031 exchange shotgun wedding, we have a solution for you if you haven't heard about it. It's called a Deferred Sales Trust. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. You can join our mastermind, by the way. It happens every Friday, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time, 1 p.m. Eastern. As well, we have our new book that's coming out. We have this cool guy named Kevin Harrington from Shark Tank. He'll be in the book. The book is called Building a Tax-Deferred Exit Strategy, and we're calling it the proven playbook for unlocking your ideal wealth plan when selling assets of any kind for yourself or your clients. Look for that to drop here soon. Please rate, review, subscribe to our YouTube channel or iTunes. Also, the expert CRE secrets people out there, thank you for also listening.